Every day, huge factories process tons of avocados to produce one of the world's fastest growing cooking oils. Inside these facilities, soft green fruit is transformed through a series of tightly controlled steps into clear bottled oil ready for supermarket shelves. At first glance, the process seems unlikely. Avocados are known for their thick flesh and creamy texture, not for pouring like oil. Yet inside each fruit, natural oil is locked deep within the pulp. To recover it, factories rely on washing systems, crushers, mixing tanks, centrifuges, filters, and high-speed bottling lines working together in one continuous process. From the moment the avocados arrive, every stage is designed to recover as much oil as possible while preserving quality. Today, we are going inside an avocado oil factory to see exactly how tons of fruit are turned into clear golden oil on an industrial scale. The process begins when truckloads of avocados arrive at the factory. These deliveries can contain many tons of fruit, all of which must move quickly into production. Large bins of avocados are unloaded and fed onto conveyor belts that carry them into the first stage of processing. Before any oil can be extracted, the fruit has to be sorted. Not every avocado that enters the factory is suitable for production. Damaged fruit, overripe fruit, and fruit contaminated with leaves, stems, or other debris can affect both yield and quality. As the avocados move along the line, sorting systems inspect them continuously. In some factories, this is done by workers stationed along the conveyors. In more advanced facilities, optical systems and sensors help identify fruit that does not meet processing standards. Rejected avocados are removed from the line, while acceptable fruit continues forward. By the end of the stage, the factory has created a steady flow of usable raw material ready for cleaning and further processing. After sorting, the avocados move to the washing stage. Even freshly harvested fruit often carries soil, dust, and small pieces of plant material that must be removed before processing begins. The avocados travel along conveyors into large rotating washers where water sprays clean the surface of the fruit. High-pressure jets rinse away dirt while the rotating drums gently tumble the avocados so every side is exposed to the cleaning water. During this stage, lighter debris such as leaves and stems are separated and carried away with the wash water. The goal is to ensure that only clean fruit continues into the extraction process. Cleaning may seem like a simple step, but it plays an important role in maintaining oil quality. Dirt and contaminants can introduce unwanted flavors or affect the performance of the machinery used later in the process. By the time the avocados leave the washing system, they are clean and ready for the first major transformation. The fruit now moves toward the crushing machines that will break it apart and release the oil stored inside the flesh. Once cleaned, the avocados move toward the machines that begin the first major transformation in the process. Whole fruit enters industrial crushers designed to break the avocados apart and convert them into a thick pulp. Inside the crusher, rotating blades or heavy grinding components tear through the fruit, breaking the soft flesh into a smooth green paste. At the same time, specialized equipment separates the large pits from the pulp so they do not interfere with later stages of extraction. The skins may also be partially removed depending on the processing system used by the factory. What remains is a dense avocado paste made primarily from the fruit's flesh, where most of the oil is stored. At this stage, the oil is still trapped within the microscopic cells of the fruit. Crushing the avocados only opens those cells and prepares the pulp for the next stage. The thick green mixture now flows through pipes into large mixing tanks where the paste will be slowly stirred to prepare it for oil extraction. After crushing, the avocado pulp moves into large stainless steel tanks where it undergoes a stage known as malaxation. During this step, the thick green paste is slowly mixed using rotating paddles that move the pulp continuously inside the tank. At first, the paste still contains many tiny droplets of oil scattered throughout the mixture. These droplets are too small to separate easily from the surrounding water and solid material. Slow mixing helps these droplets come together and form large droplets that can be separated more efficiently in the next stage. Some factories also control the temperature of the paste during mixing to improve oil recovery without damaging flavor. The process usually continues for a carefully controlled period of time while the paste slowly circulates through the tank. By the end of the stage, the avocado pulp has changed slightly in texture. The oil droplets have begun combining into larger pockets of oil within the paste. Now the mixture is ready for the machines that perform the most important step of all, separating the oil from the rest of the fruit. After mixing, the avocado paste is pumped into large industrial centrifuges that perform the main separation process. These machines spin the mixture at very high speeds, using centrifugal force to divide the paste into its main components. Inside the centrifuge, the spinning motion pushes heavier materials outward while lighter liquids collect in different layers. Solid pulp moves toward one side of the machine, water separates into another stream, and the oil forms its own separate flow. As the centrifuge continues spinning, these separated streams are guided out through different outlets. Thick fruit solids exit one channel, watery liquid leaves through another, and a stream of avocado oil flows into collection pipes. This is the stage where the oil hidden inside the fruit finally becomes visible as a liquid product. What began as thick green pulp is now divided into 3 separate materials. Even though the oil has been extracted, it is not yet ready for bottling. The freshly separated oil still contains tiny particles and small amounts of moisture that must be removed in the next stage of processing. The oil that leaves the centrifuge is still slightly cloudy because it contains tiny particles of fruit and small traces of water. Before the oil can be bottled, these impurities must be removed to improve clarity and stability. The freshly extracted oil flows through a series of filtration systems designed to capture any remaining solids. Inside these filters, fine materials are trapped while the liquid oil continues through the system. In some facilities, the oil may also pass through settling tanks or additional separators where remaining moisture gradually separates from the oil. As this process continues, the appearance of the oil begins to change. The cloudy liquid becomes cleaner and more uniform as impurities are removed. This stage helps produce the smooth, clean oil that consumers expect when they open a bottle of avocado oil. Once filtration is complete, the oil is transferred into large storage tanks where it is held temporarily before moving into the final stage of production, the bottling line. After filtration, the clarified avocado oil is transferred into large stainless steel storage tanks. These tanks allow the factory to hold the oil temporarily while production continues and while final checks are completed. From storage, pumps move the oil through sealed pipelines toward the bottling area. This section of the factory operates continuously, filling hundreds or even thousands of bottles every hour. Empty bottles arrive on fast-moving conveyor belts and travel toward automated filling machines. At each station, precise nozzles dispense measured amounts of oil into every bottle. Sensors monitor the flow to ensure that each container receives the correct volume. Once filled, the bottles immediately move to capping machines, where lids are applied and tightened. Sealing the bottles quickly helps protect the oil from contamination and exposure to air. The sealed bottles continue along the production line, where labels are applied and the containers are prepared for final inspection before leaving the factory. Before the bottled oil leaves the factory, it must pass a series of quality checks. Even though the production process is carefully controlled, manufacturers still test samples to ensure the oil meets strict standards for purity and consistency. Technicians regularly collect samples from production batches and bring them to laboratory areas within the facility. Here, the oil may be tested for properties such as acidity, moisture content, color, and flavor. These tests help confirm that the oil has been extracted and processed correctly. If any measurement falls outside the required range, the batch can be reviewed before it continues through distribution. Factories also monitor the production equipment itself to make sure each stage of the process is operating correctly. Maintaining clean equipment and consistent processing conditions helps protect the quality of the oil. Once the oil passes these inspections, the bottles move forward to the final packaging stage, where they are prepared for shipment. After passing quality checks, the bottles move to the final packaging area. Here, the finished avocado oil is prepared for shipping to stores, restaurants, and distributors. Automated machines group the bottles together and place them into cartons or shrink-wrapped bundles. These cartons travel along conveyor systems toward palletizing stations where large robotic arms stack them onto wooden pallets. The pallets are arranged carefully so the load remains stable during transportation. Once stacked, the pallets are wrapped in protective plastic film that secures the cartons and protects them from movement. Forklifts then transport the completed pallets to loading areas where trucks are waiting to carry the product to distribution centers. Within a short time, the oil that began as truckloads of fresh avocados has been transformed into bottled cooking oil ready for kitchens around the world. Inside the factory, a carefully controlled series of machines has separated, cleaned, and packaged one of the most valuable components hidden inside the fruit.